Hello viewers, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's tutorial I'll be looking at how to make a gypsy gown, and I'll be using this crepe material to illustrate on that. It will be a three-layer gypsy gown. Okay, in making this kind of dress, you have to first of all minus your half length. You get your full dress length, and the dress length I'm working with is 58 inches. That's seam allowance inclusive. I added 3 inches extra to the seam allowance, so the actual gown length is 55 inches. 55 inches. So what are we doing now? I'll minus my half length from the 55 inches. 55 inches, you add 3 inches to it for your seam allowance, which will make it 58 inches. So this 58 inches now will minus our half length from your shoulder to your waistline, which is 16 inches. By the time you minus 16 from 58, you give us 42 inches. So the down of our dress will be 42 inches. So now this 42 inches now we'll divide it by 3 because we are working with 3 layers. This gypsy gown will be 3 step. So if you divide 42 by 3 to give us 14 inches for each layer, we'll be having 14 inches for each layer. Okay. Now we're just talking about just the length. So 14 inches, 14 inches, 14 inches for each of the layers. Okay, that will be all for the length. So for the wideness of your gypsy gown, to know how the quantity of fabric you will need to gather, okay, you will now get your waist measurement for the first step. Now for the first gather, that's for the first layer. This is the first layer. So your waist measurement, the waist I'm working with is 40 inches. 40 inches. So this 40 inches now, I'll multiply it by 1.5. You multiply the 40 by 1.5. 1.5. Okay, if you multiply 40 by 1.5, it will give us 60 inches. 60 inches. So the first layer will be 60 inches long. That's the width now, the length. That's the quantity of fabric you need to make your ruffles. So the first layer will be 60 inches long. While the second layer now, that 60 inches you get from the first layer, you multiply by 1.5. 60 inches times 1.5. This will give us 90 inches. So the second layers will be 90 inches long. Whatever you get from the first layer, you multiply by 1.5. Whatever you get from the second layer, you also multiply by 1.5. So this 90 inches now, I'll still multiply by 1.5 for the third layer. Times 1.5, which is give us 134 inches. Okay, so the third layer now will be 135 inches long. So I believe you guys understand what I said. So our first layer will be 60 inches long. The second layer will be 60 inches long. The first layer will be 60 inches long. The second layer will be 90 inches long. While the third layer will be 135 inches long. That will be the length of the ruffles we are going to make. So I'll just go ahead now and cut that out on my fabric. Okay, if your length of your fabric is not long enough, you can cut two and attach them together. Okay, so for my first layer now, this is my fabric. So I'll mark 60 inches by 14 inches. So I'll be using that exact 14 inches because I'll be joining the lower part to the upper part using half inch. So I'll add extra 1 inch to it. So I'll be cutting 15 inches. So I'll just place my tape and mark my 60 inches. Just mark your 60 inches. Okay, this is exact 60 inches. So I'll just take the width now. The width I'll be using is 15 inches. So this is 15 inches. I'll just notch and cut it out. This is for the first layer. Okay, I just folded to cut my first layer, 15 inches by 60. Okay, for the second layer, I have two of it. So I'm going to join it together to make it lengthy. So for the third one now, I'll be cutting um 135 inches long. So I'll have to join it. If you have enough fabric and you want it fuller, you can multiply all your measurement by 2 instead of 1.5 inches. depending on the quantity of fabric you are using. So I'll be cutting the third layer now. I've cut the first and second layer. The third layer now, I'll be cutting um, three of this 15 inches length in three places to give me 135. So this is my first layer. So from my style, the style I'm making, the ruffles is on the dress, is not fixed inward. This is what I meant. You can see. So I'll be weaving the side seams. I'll be overlocking it. Then I'll pleat it on the dress. This is how it will be on it. You can see it's three layers. So this is what we are making. I'll just go ahead now and join the second layer and the third layer together, because the third layer will be having joining because it's very long. My fabric is not lengthy enough. So I will join the third layer and the second layer together, then overlock the edges. Then I'll be cutting the upper part next. Okay, for the upper part now, I'll be cutting the half length. And the half length I'm working with is 16 inches. I'll add 1 inch extra to it. So I'll be using total of 17 inches for my half length. Okay, for the upper part, this is what I'll be using for my half length. I'll be using total of 17 inches. My half length is 16 inches plus 1 inch, making it 17 inches. Okay, for my shoulder now, which is 15 inches, divided by 2 will give me 7.5. 7.5 here. I'll come down by 1 inch on my shoulder slope, then mark 3 inches along the neckline. This is constant for shoulder slope. I'll join the lines together. Then from my shoulder slope here, I'll come down for my round armhole measurement. My round armhole is 19 inches. Divide by 2 will give me 9.5. Okay, I just use my color chart to run it again. So now I'll be drafting my armhole curve with my armhole ruler. So underneath my armhole, I'll be inserting my bust measurement, which is 40. The bust measurement I'm working is 40 inches. Divided by 4 will give me 10 inches. 10 inches. I'll be adding 2 inches extra to this for seam allowance, plus 2 inches for seam allowance. My waistline now, I'll take my waist measurement, that's this part. So also 40 inches divided by 4, 10 inches, plus 2 inches seam allowance. So I'll just connect the lines together. Sorry about my chalk. So for my neckline, I'll be using 3.5 inches. 3.5 inches by 4 inches. So I'll connect the line together. Okay. So I use 3.5 inches by 4 inches for my neckline. So I'll just cut this out now. So this is the front part, my shoulder slope. Okay, so this is what I'm having. Since I want it to have a princess bustier, I want this to have a princess bustier line. So what we're doing now, I'll be marking my nipple to nipple measurements from the breast point line. Breast point line 11 inches, under bust 14, then the waistline. Then I'll mark 3 inches upward from my breast point line. So on this line now, I will impute my nipple to nipple measurement. That's my bust to bust measurement. I have 3 lines here. So I'm marking 4.5 inches, 4 inches on each of the lines. Sorry, 4 inches, 4 inches. This is just a bustier line, please. I'll just connect my line straight down. Then on the armhole, I'll come down by 3 inches. 3 inches. So I'll connect these 3 inches to meet with the 4 inches. So just split that up. You can see. So this is my princess postia line. Okay, this is my line. This is my princess postia line. I'm just trying to draw it so it's visible enough. So I'll cut this out. Okay, this is what I'm having for my front part. So go ahead now and cut the back. The back will be a normal dart. I won't be dividing it up like this, but you can do yours like this if you want to. Okay, I just cut the back. It's just same process, but I didn't split the back part. It's just a normal dart back. Then the neckline is 1 inch, and I maintain the width of 3.5 inches. Then the zipper allowance I use 2 inches. So this was the back of my dress. So this is the front and this is the back. So I'll just go ahead now and join the front parts together. And also we'll be cutting the sleeve next. Okay, for my sleeve now, I just folded my fabric into four. So you divide your bust measurement by 12 plus half inch to get the upper cap measurement. This is the upper cap area. This side is on full. So if you divide my as I divide my bust by 4, I got 3.5. 3.5. Then I'll also come down by that. Okay, I'll measure the round sleeve, which is 19 inches. Divide by 2 will give me 9.5. 9.5. But I'll add 1.5 inches extra, 1 inch extra to it, making it 10.5. So we have our round sleeve here, 9 inch, 9.5 inches plus 1 inch, making it 9.5. Then our upper cap measurement, I used, you divide your bust measurement by 12 plus half inch. Mine is 3.5. So for the upper cap measurement, so you also come down by 3.5 here on where you measured your round armhole. So you connect from this point to meet with your your round sleeve measurement. So you just connect like so. Then you take the rest of your sleeve measurement, 14 for my elbow plus 2 inches. I'm using total of 16 inches. So I'll connect to meet with this point. So I'll just cut this out now. Okay, the length of this sleeve is 12 inches because I'll add a peplum to the lower part. So this is 12 inches. 11 inches plus 1 inch seam allowance. That's 12 inches. Okay, so this is my sleeve. So I'll go ahead and cut the peplum, and that will be all for this sleeve. Okay, I've cut out my peplum for the both sleeve. You just fold your fabric into four. The opening of my peplum, that's the circle part. I use 2 inches, then 6 inches wideness. That's the length of the peplum is 6 inches. So what I'll be doing now, we open up the peplum. From the picture, you can see it's having a slit. So I'll be creating my slit now. So this is the slit for my peplum sleeve. So that's all about the cutting. We'll just go straight to the sewing part now. Okay, this is the outcome of the dress. Sorry I didn't show you guys each step I took. It's just very simple. You just split the ruffles on the main fabric on the upper part of your dress. So that's just it. Thank you so much for watching. Please ensure you like, share and subscribe. Bye.